Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, January 19th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, I first just want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here in just a couple of days. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right on the webpage that you can click on. So just keep that in mind, and if you're liking what you see, then definitely get signed up for the free class. And then real quick, a couple clarification points. First off, I will be doing and using the 30-minute time frame. So for you beginners out there, that just means that each one of these candlesticks represents 30 minutes worth of time. Next, the market is still open for a little while, so you're not crazy. That final candle is still moving around, but I like to do these videos when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting price movement live on video. But the market's also close enough to being done for the day where the levels that I talk about here are going to be completely relevant as we head into Wednesday. So first one here, ticker symbol BBIG. Been doing this one since down around the $2.50 mark, I believe. And once again today, higher highs and higher lows, so updates certainly need to be done. First thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and delete these lines out. They have served their purpose for now, and we'll focus on some of the nearer term levels. But almost kind of a case of deja vu. Last video had a pattern that formed, and once again we have the pattern, which is a very well-defined level, that trend line right there as resistance. And I emphasize well-defined because when you have areas that a lot of people are watching, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, you can call it whatever you want, but while nothing is guaranteed, it's valid to think that if the price can get up to that trend line and get the break up through it, that break in and of itself could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. As far as supports are concerned, and pullback areas, if you like to play more of that as your style, right down there around $4.50 is going to be that initial area of support. From more of the overarching standpoint, just continue to watch that purple line right there, the 50-period moving average. As the name implies, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So the moral of the story there is that from the big picture point of view, as long as the price stays above that line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then the overall trend is fully in the bull's favor. Next one here, PHUN. What I find very interesting about this one is, and I'm squeezing on the chart here quite a bit to illustrate this, but this is the first time from a technical point of view that the price has been able to break above this level right there around $3, and we'll call it 17 cents, give or take a little bit. But you go back through the history of things, and you can see the price has been up around this area, general area, I should say, several times. And you can see has just never been able to quite push above it until today during the last 30 minutes, which, as we're witnessing right now, got the break up through there. And you can see this final green candle is moving very, very nicely. So I'll zoom back in here so you can see that candle still just, making a good upwards move, which brings about the first key dynamic here. And this is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, ideally speaking, you now want to see that act as support. So moving forward, the strongest sign possible is not necessarily the price to keep going up, but just to continue to build higher bases, with the ideal higher base being right there at $3.17. So keep an eye on that as that main area of support. Now we're going to zoom back out because we got to figure out where some next potential areas of resistance are. And next overarching key level of resistance, keep an eye on right up there at, what is that, $3.45. So $3.45. Next level, and then I better map out one more just in case this thing really continues to build momentum. And after that, next key level at $3.60. But all in all, big breakout late afternoon. Not just a question of, is this the start of something even bigger? Let's see what happens. Next one, AMC, and want to just keep this one updated here, but did not get off to a good start to the week at all, especially from the technical point of view. I threw that trend line in play on Friday, and you can see today, gap down right at the trend line, but this trend line did not act as support like it did the previous couple times. Price broke below it, and then down it went. Now, to give some credit where credit's due, a good afternoon for the bulls. Nice bounce here. Now, whether or not this bounce is actually anything truly strong or just some sort of dead cat bounce, that all remains to be seen. But nonetheless, some updates here need to be done. With the first update being now just involving that level there. And when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So if this bounce does continue to grind higher and higher, then you're going to have a very key level of resistance right up there around $20. Let's just do this. Let's call it a zone between $20 and $20.50. So that'll certainly be the main resistance zone moving into, not necessarily Wednesday, but the next couple of days. And then as far as supports, nothing fancy, nothing complicated here at all. Literally just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was at 1780. So 1780 is that main level of support for that reason and that reason alone. Next one, NURO, and I love this one because of the well-defined nature of the pattern, which goes back to the talking point we've already had about self-fulfilling prophecies, and that's right up here at that $7 mark. I'm not trying to come across like that's some sort of special talent I have to draw on that level. I assure you people around the world have noticed that, yeah, right around the $7 mark has presented some problems, so that while that doesn't guarantee anything, it does make it more than plausible that if the price does return up to 7 and then can get the break up through it, that break could create some very nice upwards buying pressure. So keep a close eye on the $7 mark as that main resistance level. As far as supports are concerned, have an interesting level right there. So let me change that to green to represent more so a bullish dynamic of things. And that's, valued right down there around, we'll call it $6.30, give or take a little bit. So keep an eye on that. But in my mind, that's the main pattern that I think most people are watching, specifically that $7 mark. So let's see if the price can eventually get a breakout of that consolidation to the upside through 7. Next one here, BBI, for those of you that like to play these penny stocks down below $1. Monster volume today, no doubt about that. And we have ourselves a nice little pattern here headed into Wednesday. So let's just get the pattern drawn out. Have this resistance part of the pattern here. Have this support part of the pattern down at 32. So again, let me just change that to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic. And then to make this perhaps a little bit easier to see, we'll make it all one color. So we have resistance there. We have support there. We have the big momentum move right here. And then if we were to put a golf hole down here to make it even more visual, this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennant patterns, if you like to play this sort of price range, then yeah, I would definitely get BBI on your watch list. Next one, DWAC, and this one has just been a slow and steady grinder, although today I would say did make a bit more noise being defined as amount of volume. So I think this one is starting to really set off people's volume radars here. But overall, from a trend building perspective, I mean, you got to like this trend. I mean, higher highs, higher lows. You have your moving averages, the 50 period, the 200 period, nice upward slopes to it. So while that, of course, doesn't guarantee that it's going to keep uptrending, nobody would be able to accuse you of being illogical to say, wow, DWAC's got a nice trend to it right now. So that's definitely going to be, if you like to play, these trend momentum stocks, then, this is certainly a very interesting situation moving forward. If you are somebody that likes to play more so pullbacks, well, then an interesting pullback area in my mind down there right around that $80 mark. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, let's see, how can we do this best here? Let me just get rid of these old lines. In fact, I'll use one of these new ones here. So next key level of resistance, main area going to be right up there around that $90 mark. So $90 next key battleground here moving forward. But the moral of the story here is that you got to give credit where credit's due. In fact, is that where it got rejected from today? Let's see. Yeah, right there at $90. So that makes actually really good sense why the price did get rejected right at that level. But overall, nice uptrend, nice momentum, and now just a question of if you believe this trend is going to continue, well, then you'll definitely want to have this one on your watch list for either a pullback play or some sort of breakout continuation. Next one, DATS, and, pretty big speculation just because the question boils down to, okay, wow, look at this afternoon. Huge volume came pouring in. Price reacted very nicely. Sure, the price is pulled back, but it's really just a question of, okay, is this the start of something much bigger? This being the fact of, A, big volume surge, and then B, the fact that the price moved upwards. And maybe it's not. Maybe this was just a little jolt, and then that's all, that's all she wrote. However, like I said, think about what's had to happen in order for us to even be able to ask that question. Well, something has had to happen in the first place to be able to ask, is this the start of something bigger? Which is a big step because many stocks, many situations, nothing ever happened. So you're not even going to ask yourself, oh, wow, is this the start of something bigger? But that has happened here. So again, does that mean that it's a guarantee that it's the start of something bigger? Of course not. But is it plausible? Is it valid to be wondering, is this the start of something bigger? To put it on a watch list? More than plausible. So really, the question mark going forward is, okay, give credit where credit's due. Great volume, great price movement. Is this the start of a much bigger surge to the upside? Let's see what happens. Next one, PLTR, and this will mean a bit more to those that watched the previous video, but this thing is just bonkers. So let me first do this and extend this down some more. But talked about this trend line here and how, well, last week on Friday, the price had finally been able to break above that trend line. But then this morning, gap down below it, and then look at how this trend line rejected, has gone right back into effect. And this is a relatively steep trend line. So this trend line here is presenting all sorts of problems. So the moral of the story, continue to watch that trend line, and that'll be your main dynamic. But you also have to keep in mind that just because the price breaks that trend line Doesn't mean that everything is all fine. Exhibit A right there. Exhibit B right there. There's been a couple times where the price has been able to, in fact, Exhibit C right there, where the price has been able to break the trend line, but as far as staying above the trend line, that's where the price has failed quite a bit. So going forward, that trend line is still very, very important. And also, you're going to want to keep in mind from more of an overarching standpoint to watch that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. But I'm also probably getting a little bit ahead of myself because let's just first see if the price can even get above that trend line right there and actually stay above it. But as of now, I mean, that trend line is very steep and it remains in control. So pretty crazy when you stop and think about it. Next one, AMD, and this is a quick update here that I want to get rid of that level. And the first dynamic here, it comes about via 133.50, which I talked about previously as support, but now that the price has broken down below it, that would be considered an area of resistance. So moving forward, if there is any sort of attempted bounce back to the upside, that first big question mark is, can the price even get back up above and stay above 133.50? As far as next potential areas of support and a level that I think a lot of shorts are going to be watching is right down here at 131. Going through the history of things, you can see that 131 did act as support right there. Acted as support right there, acted as, support right there. And now the price is getting, once again, very close to that area. So while nothing is guaranteed, you got to think that there's a bunch of shorts just watching and waiting. If that price can be broken and it breaks down through, is that going to create that much more buying pressure? But you're also going to have a bunch of longs watching and saying, you know what? I mean, it's bounced the past multiple times. It's been down around that area. So maybe this thing is getting ready to bounce again. And that's a valid, plausible thought process I have too. The point here being is this is why risk management matters, because somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong. And that's why you got to manage risk just in case you're that person that happens to be wrong. Next one here, Tesla, and a pretty crazy day, at least morning. Price came down here, bounced beautifully off that support level that I talked about before, and then had a super impressive bounce. Got up to that purple line, which I've talked about in past videos, and then got rejected and has come all the way, almost full circle, all the way back down to that 1020 mark, which brings about the first key talking point and the level that I think most people are going to care about, at least for myself. I am very curious about 1020 tomorrow. Will it be retested? If so, is it going to hold? Because if it doesn't hold, then while no guarantees, as I've said about 10 million times, it's very plausible at that point that, especially if it's a high volume break of 1020 to the downside, that could cause the price to, at minimum, retest that big old round number of 1,000 down there, which also has some technical history. So pointer being 1020, very, very important level from the support side of things. And then on the resistance side, we have confirmation that the purple line there, 50-period moving average, remains a very stubborn level and a tricky level, because right here you can see the price actually broke above it, but failed. Right there, broke above it this morning, but then failed. So like PLTR, just because the price maybe gets above that purple line, I'd still be a little skeptical until the price proves that it actually wants to stay up above it. But overall, those would be the main levels to watch on Tesla for Wednesday. And that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can be used, how it should be used, and why it's just so powerful as a tool to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, January 20th. At 7 p.m. Eastern time, so certainly get signed up for it. If you enjoy these top 10 videos and watch lists and you want me to keep putting these videos together, please let me know that with some basic feedback. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment. Say hi, let me know what you traded today. Let me know what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things, hitting the like button, leaving a simple comment, communicate to me that you enjoy these videos, and as long as I know people are enjoying them, then I have no problem at all continuing to put these watch list videos together. And again, if you want to learn more about technical analysis and how it can be used to build consistency as a trader, definitely get signed up for the class. Everybody take care. Have a good one.